When was the last time you actually felt your own life? Not remembered it, not photographed it, not posted it, felt it. The warmth of the mug in your hand, the way the light fell across your floor, the weight of your body as you breathed in and breathed out, knowing, I am here. For most people, that moment is rare, because most people aren't really living. They're running a program. You wake up to an alarm you didn't choose, you scroll through feeds you don't remember opening, you put on clothes that match a role you never consciously picked, you go to places because you've always gone there. You say the same phrases, react to the same triggers, think the same thoughts. And then, at night, you collapse into bed and whisper, I don't know where my day went. As if it got lost somewhere between your first scroll and your last sigh. What you call your life might just be your habits wearing a human costume. No one told you that, of course. They told you this is just what adulthood feels like. Responsibility, routine, being realistic. Welcome to the real world, they say, as they hand you the same script that numbed them. You didn't notice when you first began to slip into autopilot. It's subtle. It feels like efficiency. No need to think, no need to feel too much. You just go. You brush your teeth and your mind is at work. You drive to work and your mind is in a memory. You sit at work and your mind is in an imaginary future. You come home and your mind is in a screen. Your body is here, but you are almost never here. You are everywhere except the moment you're actually in. And yet, this pattern feels normal, doesn't it? Everyone around you seems to be doing the same thing. So you assume this must be life. This must be what being a functioning adult looks like. Busy, tired, distracted, vaguely dissatisfied. But somewhere, deep beneath the noise, a quieter part of you has started to protest. It comes out as a strange emptiness. You can't explain it logically. Nothing is wrong on paper. You may even have things you once begged for, a job, a relationship, some stability. And still, there's this hollow thud inside you, this nagging sense that you're missing something essential, like a song that never quite reaches its chorus. You might even feel guilty about it. Who am I to feel this way, you think? There are people suffering far more. So you push it down, call it stress, call it burnout, call it a phase. But what if that quiet dissatisfaction is not ingratitude? What if it's your soul banging on the walls of a life lived entirely on autopilot? You see, there is a dangerous illusion that many people mistake for their life. It looks like a life. It has all the right props. A calendar, always full. A phone, always buzzing. A bank account, hopefully growing. A set of roles, employee, parent, friend, partner, consumer. From the outside, it passes inspection. From the inside, it feels like drifting, like watching yourself from a distance, like being trapped in a loop that repeats with slight variations, but never really changes. That loop is not your life. It is your conditioning. Your nervous system learned from very early on what to do to stay safe, accepted, and functional in this world. It built patterns, routines, reflexes. It wired itself to react faster than you can think. And those patterns can carry an entire lifetime if they are never questioned. You wake because the alarm says so, not because your being is ready to rise. You go to work because the bills say so, not because your soul feels called. You say yes because you're afraid of what no will cost you. You say no because you're afraid of what yes might change. You are moved by fear, by habit, by momentum. All of that can look very responsible, respectable, admirable even. But if, beneath the roles and routines, you feel like a stranger to yourself, that is your first clue that something is wrong. Not with you, with the illusion. The illusion that your life is something that happens to you, a conveyor belt you were placed on at birth, moving relentlessly from one pre-programmed milestone to the next. School, job, marriage or not, children or not, retirement, death. In between, a handful of holidays, some vacations, a few big purchases, and a constant background hum of, is this it? The Matrix isn't just a movie about machines and wires. It's the psychological state of living so deeply inside a script that you mistake it for reality. The Matrix is everyone telling you this is just how life is, and you never stopping long enough to answer, according to who? Ask yourself honestly, how many of your choices are truly yours? How many of your beliefs did you consciously choose? How many of your desires are authentically yours? And how many were downloaded from advertisements, culture, family expectations? You might find, if you look closely, that much of what you call I is actually we. The voices of parents, teachers, friends, and systems layered over your own, speaking through you. You are not wrong for this. This is how humans survive. We imitate, we mirror, we absorb. But there comes a time when the soul no longer wants to live as an echo. That time often arrives as a feeling of disconnection, a sense of being unplugged from yourself. You go through the motions, but you're not really there. You catch yourself halfway through a day and realize you barely remember it. You've driven the same road 1,000 times and can't recall the last 10 minutes. You've had whole conversations while your mind was somewhere else. You've eaten meals without tasting them, sat in rooms without feeling your body, said "I love you" without being present enough to feel it. Those are the fingerprints of autopilot. And autopilot is useful, to a point. It lets you tie your shoes without thinking, it lets you drive and talk at the same time, it frees your conscious mind from simple tasks. But when autopilot takes over your entire existence, when it is not just guiding simple movements, but steering your destiny, then you are not living, you are sleepwalking. There is something tragic about a person who spends their one brief existence on Earth never actually meeting themselves, never truly asking, what do I really want? What do I genuinely believe? What feels true in my bones, regardless of what others think? Many people die having lived a very convincing imitation of a life, but never once touched their own depth. That is the danger. Not that you will suffer, but that you will quietly adapt to that suffering and call it fine. That you will confuse numbness with peace, distraction with joy, autopilot with destiny. So what does it mean to stop living on autopilot? It does not mean quitting your job tomorrow, running off to a monastery, or burning down everything you've built. Escaping the world is just another pattern. It begins much more simply and far more radically than that, by bringing your attention back to this moment as it is, without immediately trying to escape it, to feel your own breathing without needing to change it, to notice the way your shoulders sit, the way your chest tightens in certain conversations, the way your stomach reacts to different choices, to watch your thoughts as if they are clouds passing through a vast sky, rather than commands from an invisible dictator, to question an impulse before you obey it. Am I doing this because I choose to, or because I'm on a loop? To pause before you say yes and ask, who is saying yes here, my truth or my fear? These small acts of attention are how you begin to gently take your hands back from the steering wheel you didn't realize you had surrendered. Autopilot hates this. It will tell you you're being dramatic, that you don't have time, that you should just keep moving, that everyone else seems fine, so why are you overthinking? It will try to lure you back with notifications, noise, urgency. But the more often you interrupt the pattern, the more space you create. And in that space, something remarkable begins to surface: your own voice. At first, it might be faint. It may sound like a soft resistance when you're about to agree to something you don't really want, or a quiet pull towards something that makes no logical sense but feels strangely alive. Follow that voice gently. Test it. Listen to what it loves. Notice what it withdraws from. You will discover that there is a you beneath the conditioning, beneath the habits, beneath the character you've been playing. A you who is more fluid than your story, more spacious than your thoughts, more mysterious than your roles. That is the one who is meant to live this life, not the program, not the autopilot, not the bundle of second-hand opinions you've been defending for years. You, the one who is awake enough to ask, right now, is this really my life, or just the default script I was given? It takes courage to ask that question honestly, because if the answer is it's mostly a script, then something in you will want to change. And change is frightening, because autopilot promises safety, even as it slowly kills your aliveness. But consider the alternative: to never ask, to never question, to let the years pass in a blur of half-felt days and half-lived choices, only to wake up near the end and realize you were never really here. Is that what you want to call your life? Or will you allow this discomfort, this strange dissatisfaction you've been feeling, to be what it truly is? An invitation. An invitation to stop outsourcing your existence to habit, to stop drifting, to stop mistaking motion for meaning. You don't have to transform everything at once. You don't have to overthrow your entire existence overnight. That's just another fantasy, another movie in your head. You begin with one breath fully felt, one meal fully tasted, one conversation where you listen not to answer but to truly hear, one honest no where you used to say yes, one evening where you put the phone away and simply sit with yourself, uncomfortable perhaps, but real. Those small acts are how you step out of the illusion and back into your life. They are how you reclaim the only thing that was ever truly yours, your awareness. Because in the end, your life is not the story others tell about you. It is not your job title, your possessions, or your image. Your life is the sum of the moments you were actually awake for. Don't let autopilot steal them from you. You are here, now, reading these words. Already something in you has begun to stir. Already something in you is tired of drifting. Already there is a part of you that knows there is more to this existence than going through the motions. Trust that part. Let it take you by the hand and lead you one conscious moment at a time out of the dangerous illusion you mistook for your life and into the strange, raw, beautiful reality of actually living it. There's a strange thing that happens once you start to see the illusion. You can't unsee it. You go back to the office, back to your routines, back to the people and places that once felt normal, and suddenly everything looks a bit scripted. You notice the phrases people repeat without thinking. You notice how often someone asks, "How are you?" and doesn't wait for the answer. You notice the tight smiles, the forced laughter, the way everyone seems to be playing a role they never consciously auditioned for. And then you notice your own role. You hear yourself saying things you don't fully mean, agreeing to plans you don't really want, laughing along to things that don't actually resonate with you. It's like watching a character wearing your face move through scenes that feel oddly hollow. That's the unsettling part. You realize that autopilot isn't just something outside of you, it lives inside you too. For years, you learned how to be acceptable, how to be safe, how to be efficient. You learned what was rewarded and what was ignored. You learned which parts of you won praise and which parts brought silence, discomfort, or criticism. Without realizing it, you built a version of yourself that could move smoothly through the world. The cost of that smoothness was your aliveness. You became, in many ways, a clever machine. You know how to perform competence. You know how to deliver what's expected. You know how to say things that keep the peace, even when the peace comes at the expense of your truth. On the surface, this looks like maturity. Underneath, it often feels like a quiet form of self-erasure. The dangerous thing about autopilot is that it doesn't feel like a villain. It feels like the way things are. It runs on exhaustion, familiarity, and fear of disruption. It whispers, "Don't question this. You're too busy. Just get through the day." So, you do. You get through the day. Then another. Then another. And one morning, you wake up with a heavy sense of having missed your own life, as if you were always on your way to something, but never actually there. The mind's first instinct is to blame external circumstances, the job, the relationship, the city, the family. And yes, those things can contribute, but if you look deeper, you begin to see a pattern. The same numbness follows you everywhere. It's in your morning routine, it's in how you handle conflict, it's in the way you reach for your phone the second there's a gap in stimulation. It's in your inability to just sit without feeling the urge to do, fix, check, scroll, or escape. Autopilot isn't just a habit of action, it's a habit of avoidance. Avoidance of discomfort, avoidance of silence, avoidance of truth. Because if you truly stopped, if you truly dropped out of the constant forward tilt of your mind, what would you have to face? Maybe you'd have to face the fact that the career you've built doesn't reflect what you value. Maybe you'd have to admit that certain relationships are more about obligation than love. Maybe you'd have to acknowledge the dreams you quietly buried because they didn't match what others expected of you. These recognitions are painful. They crack the mask. They pierce the illusion of everything is fine. And once that illusion is pierced, you can't just slip back into unconsciousness without feeling a kind of inner betrayal. So the ego does what it knows best. It tries to protect you from that pain by keeping you distracted. Autopilot becomes its armor. Keep moving, keep working, keep consuming, keep scrolling. Keep filling every spare moment with something. That way, there's no space for the deeper questions to arise. That way, there's no silence where your soul might speak a truth that would require you to change. But the whisper doesn't go away. It just waits. It waits in the moments when your guard is down, when you've turned off the lights at night and there's nothing left to do. It waits in the quiet after a long day, when you feel strangely empty despite all you've accomplished. It waits in the pauses between your breaths, when you catch yourself thinking, "Is this really it?" That question is not your enemy. It is your opening. It is not asking, "What's wrong with life?" It is asking, "What part of me is still asleep in it?" If you listen closely, you'll notice that autopilot and awakening are both always available to you. In each moment, you are either being moved by your conditioning or by your conscious presence. Most of the time, it's a blend of both. The key is not to wage war on your habits, but to bring light to them. Notice the mornings you rush through like a checklist. Notice the way you eat without tasting, walk without noticing the ground under your feet, speak without really choosing your words. None of this makes you bad or weak. It simply shows how deeply you've been trained to function more like a system than a being. The shift begins with something very small, almost embarrassingly simple: attention. Not forced, rigid attention, not spiritual productivity, just the willingness, a few times a day, to come back to what you're actually doing. When you drink water, you actually feel the water. When you shower, you feel the temperature, the contact, the sound. When you speak, you notice if your words match what you truly feel. This doesn't sound dramatic or earth-shattering, but it is, because it interrupts the trance. The trance that says life is something you move through on the way to something else. The trance that says presence is a luxury, productivity is survival. The trance that says you'll live later. Right now, you must just get things done. There is a deeper truth. If you are not here for this moment, you are not truly here for any moment. You may pass through time, you may accumulate experiences, but they will slip through your fingers like water because you were never fully present to them. When you start to live deliberately, you don't necessarily change the outer form of your life right away. The same job, the same relationship, the same environment may still be there, but the way you inhabit them changes. Instead of arriving at work already exhausted by the thoughts you spun in your head on the commute, you arrive having actually been with yourself on the way. Instead of eating to fill a hole, you eat to nourish a body you have begun to care about again. Instead of saying yes automatically, you feel the truth of your body and let it inform your voice. Sometimes, these small shifts reveal that you can stay where you are but live differently. You may find that there is more space, more peace, and more depth available in your present circumstances than you realized. Other times, these shifts make it clear that something fundamental is out of alignment, that the job is not merely tiring, it is untrue, that the relationship is not merely complicated, it is suffocating, that the environment is not merely challenging, it is toxic to your nervous system. Autopilot kept you from seeing this clearly by numbing you. Awareness will not let you look away. That is where courage is required. Because once you know something, you cannot unknow it without creating a fracture in yourself. If your body and soul are saying no, but your fear says yes and you obey the fear, you strengthen the autopilot and weaken your trust in yourself. Living awake does not mean you never compromise, never bend, never navigate realities like money, family, or duty. It means that you no longer abandon your inner truth completely in the process. You begin to move differently. You might not be able to leave your job tomorrow, but you stop telling yourself the lie that you are powerless. You start exploring, studying, experimenting with small shifts. You honor that something in you is changing, and you make room for that change instead of shaming it. You might not be able to transform your relationships overnight, but you can begin to bring your real self into them. You can share more honestly. You can set gentle boundaries. You can allow certain dynamics to fade without forcing yourself to resurrect them just because they are familiar. Of course, this will not always be received with applause. There is a hidden reason autopilot is so common. It makes you predictable. And predictable people are easy to manage, easy to depend on, easy to use. When you start to wake up, you become less predictable. You become more honest. You become less willing to carry what is not yours. Some people in your life will not welcome this. They preferred the version of you who said yes automatically, who absorbed the discomfort in the room, who kept the peace at their own expense. When you begin to step out of that role, they may call you selfish, distant, strange, or changed. They will be right about one thing: you are changed. You are no longer willing to mistake self-abandonment for kindness. You are no longer willing to confuse numbness with stability. You are no longer willing to segment your life into things I endure and brief escapes, hoping that someday, somehow, it will all make sense. You are starting to insist on being here for your own existence. That insistence may cost you certain illusions. The illusion that everyone will like you if you're good enough. The illusion that a stable routine is the same as a meaningful life. The illusion that you are safer asleep than awake. But what you gain in return is immeasurable. The feeling of being on your own side. Imagine that for a moment. Imagine what it would feel like if, instead of constantly overriding your own signals to keep others comfortable, you treated yourself as someone worth listening to, worth protecting, worth honoring. What if your inner voice was not an inconvenience, but a compass? What if the heaviness you feel in certain situations was not a sign that you're too sensitive, but a message that something here is not aligned with you? What if your fatigue is not just physical, but the weight of living a life that doesn't match your soul? When you see through the illusion, you realize that the danger was never in questioning your life. The real danger was in never questioning it at all. Because autopilot doesn't just steal your years, it steals your chance to meet the one living them. The world will continue to offer you ways to drift. Endless entertainment, endless comparison, endless noise. But you have another option now. You can choose, however imperfectly, to wake up inside your own life. To be here when you drink your coffee. To be here when you speak to someone you love. To be here when you are sad, instead of reflexively running away from the feeling. To be here when life is beautiful. To be here when life is messy. Presence does not promise you a life without pain. It offers you something more honest. A life where you are actually there for all of it. That is what makes it real. One day, perhaps sooner than you think, you will look back at this time, the time when you first began to question the script, and you will feel a kind of quiet gratitude. Not because it was easy, not because it was neat, but because it was the moment you stopped confusing the program with the person, the autopilot with the soul. And you will realize that the life you almost slept through was not the life you came here to live. You came here to feel, to choose, to love, to hurt, to grow, to awaken. You came here to live a life that is actually yours. There comes a point in this kind of journey where you can't keep pretending you didn't hear the wake-up call.
It doesn't arrive as a thunderclap, it doesn't come with trumpets or angels. Most of the time, it arrives as something much quieter. A sentence you can't unhear, a feeling you can't explain away, a moment when you realize, with a kind of soft shock, I have been moving, but I have not really been living. You might be sitting on a bus, you might be staring at a screen, you might be washing dishes or brushing your teeth, and suddenly there's a sense that your life has been happening slightly to the side of you, just out of reach, while you've been busy chasing some imagined later. Later when things calm down. Later when you have more money. Later when you have more time, more clarity, more confidence. But later never arrives. There is only ever this moment, repeating in endlessly changing forms, while you skim its surface and call it getting through the day. You can feel the cost of that now, not in some abstract, theoretical way, but in the heaviness in your chest, in the way your body seems tired in a way sleep doesn't fix, in the ache that shows up when the noise dies down and you're left alone with yourself. If you listen closely, that ache is not just pain, it's a question. Not what is wrong with my life, but whose life have I been living? You can trace back all the roles you took on: the obedient child, the hardworking student, the reliable employee, the supportive friend, the partner who holds it all together. None of these roles are bad, many of them are necessary, but somewhere along the way, the roles became the whole story. You got so used to playing them that the one playing them started to disappear. You, the one who notices the roles, the one who feels the dullness in the middle of routine, the one who sometimes stares out of a window and feels a longing they cannot put into words. That longing is not a childish fantasy. It is not some unrealistic part of you refusing to grow up. It is life itself nudging from the inside, asking to be lived more directly. There is a kind of tragedy the world doesn't talk about much, not dying young, but dying having never really lived as yourself. You've seen it in others, the way some people move like their spirit left years ago. The way they talk only in complaints and memories, as if the present were just something to endure on the way to nothing in particular. You can see in their eyes that whatever fire was there has been dimmed to a small, cautious flame. You are feeling all of this because you don't want to become that. You may not know what you want yet, but you know you do not want to sleepwalk your way to the end. That knowing is the beginning of your real life. The mind will try to complicate this. It will want a 5-year plan, a big dramatic gesture, a radical reinvention overnight. It will say, if we are going to change, we must change everything. And because everything feels impossible, it will quietly suggest that you change nothing. But the soul speaks a different language. It is not asking you to burn your life down. It is asking you to turn the light on. To stop abandoning this moment in favor of the next one. To stop abandoning your truth to protect everyone else's comfort. To stop abandoning your own presence to keep feeding the machine of mindless doing. This does not happen in grand declarations. It happens in very small, very intimate ways. It happens when you pause, just for a breath, before you automatically say yes to something you don't want. It happens when you notice the tightness in your body in a certain situation, and instead of overriding it, you get curious about what it's telling you. It happens when you choose to feel a feeling all the way through instead of instantly numbing it with scrolling, food, work, or busyness. It happens when you allow a tiny bit more honesty into your day than you did yesterday. These are not small things. They are tectonic shifts. Because every time you choose awareness over autopilot, you are cutting a new groove into the record of your life. You are training your nervous system to recognize presence as home, rather than stress and distraction. At first, it may feel awkward. You will forget over and over. You'll catch yourself halfway through the old loop again. Mind lost in thought, hand reaching for the phone, mouth saying, "I'm fine," when you're not. That's okay. The point is not to become some perfectly mindful, enlightened being who never slips back into habit. The point is that you are starting to notice, and noticing is the first real act of freedom.
The illusion wants you to believe that you must choose, either remain a responsible member of society or abandon everything to find yourself. But that's a false choice. You can be responsible and awake. You can pay bills and pay attention. You can honor your commitments while also honoring the truth that is arising within you. What changes is not always the outer shape of your life, but the quality of consciousness inhabiting it. A conversation with your child when you're truly present is not the same as a conversation where you're half in your head. Eating a meal while tasting it, actually tasting it, is not the same as eating just to fill time in silence.
Sitting in silence for 5 minutes is not the same as scrolling for 5 minutes, even if, from the outside, nothing seems different. The world measures life in visible achievements. Your soul measures life in moments of genuine presence. If you want to stop living on autopilot, you begin by valuing presence more than performance. You might still perform, you might still play certain roles, but you no longer confuse them with who you are. That separation is crucial. Without it, you feel trapped inside a mask. With it, you realize, I am the one wearing this mask for now, and I can take it off, or change it, or at the very least, stop believing it is my face. A strange thing happens when you live this way. Time changes. On autopilot, days blur, weeks vanish, years pass and leave behind only a vague sense of busy. When you are present, time slows, moments stretch, small things become vivid, a stranger's smile, the sound of rain, the way your own breath feels in your chest. Life stops feeling like a tunnel you rush through on your way to some distant light. It becomes lit from within, here, now. Nothing external may have changed, but everything feels different. This is what people sometimes mean when they talk about awakening. It's not about floating above life, becoming some serene, detached observer who no longer cares. It's about dropping into life more fully, feeling it with less filter, less numbness, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. You start to see that even your discomfort is part of the aliveness you were missing, that even your confusion is better than dead certainty in a life that isn't truly yours. You realize that being awake isn't always pleasant, but it is always honest. And there is a deep, quiet relief in that honesty. You do not have to pretend as much. You do not have to hold up as many masks. You do not have to keep running from yourself. Of course, the world around you will still be moving fast. The culture of autopilot doesn't disappear just because you've seen through it. You will still be tempted, daily, to go back to sleep, to drown this new awareness in comfort, in drama, in noise. Sometimes you will. That too is part of being human. The difference now is that you know what you are doing. You can feel when you've left yourself. You can feel when you've handed the steering wheel back to habit. And from that awareness, you can choose to return, again and again and again. Think of it less as a single drastic decision and more as a practice of returning to yourself, to your breath, to the reality of this moment, whenever you remember. Over months and years, that practice reshapes your entire experience of being alive. People may look at your life from the outside and see nothing remarkable. The same house, the same job, the same relationships, but inside, the quality of your days has changed. You are no longer just getting through them. You are inhabiting them, feeling them, living inside them as yourself. You start to notice small miracles in ordinary places. You taste your coffee and realize you have missed this simple pleasure for years. You listen to someone speak and realize you are actually hearing them, rather than half planning your reply. You walk outside and see the sky, not as background scenery, but as something that moves you for reasons you can't explain. This is what it means to reclaim your life, not to make it look impressive on a screen, but to feel it as real from the inside. If there is a dangerous illusion here, it is not just the routines and roles you were given. It is the belief that your life belongs to anything other than your own awareness. Your job is not your life. Your image is not your life. Your story is not your life. Your life is your direct experience, right now. The only question is, are you here for it? The fact that you have even begun to ask that question means something is already shifting. You are already at the threshold. You don't need permission to step through. You don't need validation from anyone outside you. You don't need to have all the answers. You only need the willingness to live one moment, this one, a little more honestly than the last. To feel this breath, to notice this body, to tell yourself the truth about how you feel, even if you don't act on it yet. That is how the most important revolutions begin, not with noise, but with a single, quiet yes. Yes to being here. Yes to feeling. Yes to living a life that is actually yours. One day, far from now, you will reach the end of this particular story. The body will grow tired. The roles will fall away. The masks will dissolve. In that moment, the only thing that will matter is not how impressive your life looked, but how deeply you were actually present for it. If you can say, even imperfectly, I was awake for my own existence. I did not simply run the program. I met myself. I lived as myself. Then you will have lived well. And that possibility begins now, in the simple, radical act of not drifting past this moment. You are not a machine. You are not a script. You are not a bundle of unconscious habits in human form. You are awareness itself, temporarily playing this role, in this world, for a brief and precious time. Do not give that time entirely to autopilot. Come back to yourself. This breath, this feeling, this ordinary pulsing moment is where your life stops being an illusion and starts being truly yours again.